Show.
Dans notre quotidien, c'est sur Taïwan.
SonarFeed! Welcome to SonarFeed episode number 250. 5 of 9. You will be assimilated. I'm Dave Clark. I'm tentatively the host of the show until Tom takes over. You can follow me on Twitter at BetterThan. To my left, your right on the one big screen that you all watch on now, because Adam Weigel's awesome, is...
Mickey Turner, Turner ESQ on the Twitters.
You can also support him on Patreon. Soccer ESQ, I believe.
That is correct.
There we go. And then to my right, your left, still on the same big screen. It's all going to be on one screen. That's where we do it now.
Tom Biro, a.k.a. Bougie Hooli.
And finally, he's got a microphone today. He's more than just a producer. He's a man that eats food.
Adam Weigel, a.k.a. Weigel.
He's also the director of the S2 broadcast. You can watch those on ESPN+. Sometimes I say interesting things there. This is SonarFeed. We're at the Berliner Pub down on 3rd and Main, downtown Renton.
Ahead of the curve.
There we are.
We forgot that last time so many times.
We took last week off because basically no one wanted to show up.
Right.
Which means it's been 3
It was
games.
really that we had multiple producers unavailable.
Well, yeah, we have a producer and a backup producer, and neither of them could make it. And so
They were probably off drinking together.
And we didn't have enough time to sign a short-term producer.
One day.
Yeah,
we could have brought in a producer
short-term
from that Phoenix
Loan
Rising
agreement.
team.
no, we couldn't because that's me, and I did that
that's
twice,
right.
and that's bad.
Dave loves that. It is his... Of all the things on SonarFeed that one could get to do, being the third producer is absolutely the one you want. So internship opportunities are definitely available. Or not. You have to borrow Adam's equipment, though.
I have to interrupt.
He has a really, really high deposit.
For just one moment.
Yes,
'cause,
Dave.
Will Bruin.
Is he
Bruin
still
just
tweeting?
Copy-edited Jeremiah's latest tweet.
What is it?
That's still happening?
So, Bruin, it's 1 point, should have been 3. Points dropped is bad wording. That's a reference to a Sounder at Heart tweet about the player ratings. Jeremiah says, we'll make you down for a point gain then. Will Bruin says, Mark. Because...
I love
Spell correct. Spell check.
I mean, he's chilling. Maybe he just came out of the cryo booth or something, and he's like, meh, I'll go spell check some tweets.
It's not new to me, but it's still pretty damn awesome every time it becomes obvious. The players read Sounder at Heart. In fact, the coach kind of made a reference to Sounder at Heart today when he was on KJR, where he said, "Yeah, I saw the video of Josef Martinez headbutting Chad Marshall." By the way, when the rules of a game protect you from retaliation in that you're willing to headbutt a man the size of Chad Marshall,
Right.
who, if a Hollywood producer, Joe Roth, was trying to cast a film, could play the part of an orc quite well. And still, little Josef Martinez headbutted him. Clear and obviously, and didn't get suspended. We're going to talk about 3 soccer games today, right?
We're going to talk about 3 Sounders matches. We're going to talk about the World Cup, because that thing happened. The thing that then has now sent our mornings back into despair and horribleness. So we'll talk about that a little bit. I think we're going to try and grab some time with everyone's favorite corporate overlord that you can trust, Max Aquino.
That's ECS Pub League Shield winner, Max Aquino. Thank you.
it's rigged.
Yeah. It happens. Let's see, we've got a couple Sounders matches upcoming, but it is Cascadia week. So
This match counts, by the way.
Vancouver. Yeah,
This is the first one that counts.
They count.
Second one.
So Vancouver Saturday at 1. So we'll dig into that and probably touch on other things.
Whatever we feel like talking
that cross our screens at any given moment. So, do we want to start with World Cup, or do we want to talk about
Let's
Sounders
do World
first?
Cup. I mean, because that way we can dedicate more time to
I do want to know, it is important that SonarFeed viewers are all aware if you or members of your household committed treason on international airwaves earlier today. Because if you have, then you might have to step away from the show.
No, it's okay if it's their first time.
We did hear that.
Nothing wrong with a little light treason.
Light treason?
Light
Did you
treason.
just say that?
I did
Before
say
lunch,
light,
yeah.
yes.
Misdemeanor treason.
There.
Light treason before lunch?
Misdemeanor treason. This may have to go like as the corollary or the follow on to the have has your home or office been raided by the FBI? So anyway, let's get into World Cup. I think there's a lot to unpack, a lot to talk about. I think about where we were. People were feeling pretty good about France. There's some other things that had happened since then. Other countries that didn't quite make it as far as some fans would have liked them to. But all in all, I think most people feel pretty good about the final matchup. Kind of a fun way to do it. Croatia, frankly, not that France was punching up, but for the amount of youth that they brought with them, that was a pretty fantastic, borderline amazing showing.
I want to roll back a little bit to the semifinal between France and Belgium because that's a kind of a great example of like two different golden generations. That's almost certainly the end of the line for Belgium's golden generation.
Probably, yeah.
They did fairly well at 2 World Cups, including winning 3rd in this one. They've been hyped as everybody's like, they're small, but you should respect them, and they finally took 3rd overall. But they're old now, and a vast majority of their squad won't be at the next World Cup. France, on the other hand, is in their
multiple World Cups.
Yes.
first World Cup
At the same time.
First World Cup of this generation.
At the same damn
and they
time.
win it all.
Yeah.
And so there are rare times when you get the golden generation not only performs, but they perform when they are, on average, younger than peak age. Like, there are clearly some older players for France that won't be at the
Like
next World Cup,
Giroud and
but
stuff. Yeah.
they're the core of this. Like, let's ignore Mbappe because
He's
he
going to
could
go to
to-
like
he could
15
reasonably
more
go to
World
5
Cups.
World Cups.
Yeah.
And to put that in perspective, that's something that only the undead like Rafa Marquez can do. So it's just an interesting counterpoint there between the two sides, in that one's a golden generation that's fading and still finally taking 3rd in the World Cup for any generation is awesome. 3rd, pretty damn good.
And that's what their FIFA ranking was, if I recall correctly, as well. Belgium, 3rd. Yeah. That worked out. Nailed that.
But and then
No.
you look at France and what they did. That's wow. Like, it's just fun to watch. Heck, Belgium was fun to watch. I remember the winner. This was because our last show is more than 2 weeks ago. The Belgium winner over Japan, where a bunch of slow old dudes counterattacked in 18 seconds.
Oh my God, that was unbelievable.
And it was a perfect example of how the Seattle Sounders could become a counterattacking team despite the fact that they're a bunch of slow dudes. And it's because when you pass well and crisply and you kind of have seen it in a little bit, not to segue too much to the Sounders, but now that Victor Rodriguez and Nico Ladero are on the field at the same time, you can see kind of the MLS version of that quick pass counterattack.
For sure.
So I really liked watching Belgium. They were one of the really fun teams because they have all the athleticism and power, but they're...
Yeah, I think front to back, interesting to watch. Like, there are teams where you're like, I don't know anything about this team's midfielders or defenders. That team, that's what was super cool about Croatia. You're like, I don't know, you could pick any team and put them up against Croatia right now, and I think they could potentially win this game. Purely on who their midfielders were. And obviously, you come in as a, true underdog, not fanship underdog. I saw something really funny on Reddit, on the France Reddit, and it was like the global heat map of who people are supporting. And it's like the entire planet is Croatia, and then it was like France and like one other place. and that was it. Was supporting France.
French Guyana or something like that. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think you're smart to call out Belgium, and it is interesting, and that's maybe the big difference with soccer when you compare to a lot of other sports out there. And like, I was going to make a Axel Witsel joke, like, can we just not have any more Axel Witsel? Because I don't really feel like watching him play anymore. He looks like Thiago Silva and a number of other people, like he's 15, not Kevin De Bruyne 15, but like actually just looks 15, and I just peaked 29. I'm like, how is that guy 29 years old? Like, I would never believe that. But it is interesting to see, like, probably
He's 29
won't make it through another
because
cycle.
he was born in 1989.
That's how years work.
Thanks for the math lesson.
Did anybody else look at England keeper Pickford and think that he was one of the extras on Harry Potter?
I mean, probably.
I
Is
wish
this
I'd
where you
said
tell
that-
me he was an extra in Harry Potter?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yes, in Deathly Hallows Part 1. No.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, he reminded, and it might just be because he had kind of that baby-faced English, rosy-cheek English boy look, which, like, 85% of the male extras in Harry Potter had. So, that's probably it, but yeah.
So,
Dave
maybe
talks
just-
the World Cup / Harry Potter at the same time.
You did smurge him pretty well. So, favorite moments, favorite World Cup moments, things that jump out to you.
Oh, well, Dave stole mine with the counterattack.
Belgian?
The Belgian counterattack. That was unbelievable. That was probably my favorite.
But I lost money, so that's not theft.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, so that was probably my favorite. I enjoyed Croatia. Russia was interesting. I wouldn't say it was my favorite moment by any stretch, but interesting seeing them be able to progress as far as they did.
Yeah.
I mean,
How did they have
with
such
that team,
stamina?
Yeah.
Weird.
Yes. Well,
We can go to SonarFeed correspondent Lance Armstrong, and he will get us some info. Dave's like, I'm just going to let that go and move on.
Set pieces.
yeah.
Love
All
the
day.
crap out of it. The World Cup of set pieces was probably my favorite World Cup ever. Cruz is the one. Like a lot of
Yeah.
people are going to pick out the Cristiano one, but I'm sorry. I've seen a lot of strikes from distance at that angle. The Cruz angle was dumb, and taking a kick that was marked as an indirect kick and essentially turning it into almost like a field goal
Yeah.
situation because they tapped it and then just held it there. I love that. That was a lot of fun.
There were a couple of pretty sick goals. Was it Pavard had one? He had a couple, but had one that really jumped out. I think for me, Keisuke Honda just coming on and like immediately changing games multiple times was super cool to see.
Rafa not being allowed to wear a branded
The
training
brands,
kit.
that's a pretty good one.
That's for you, Ugo.
That's pretty good. I'd say the set pieces was a cool thing to see.
There was a brief moment where Spain and Portugal on day 3 of the group stage, one of them had Morocco and the other had Iran, and there was a way that Iran could qualify.
Yeah.
And for like about 18 minutes, it looks like one of Spain or Portugal, I forget which one, wasn't going to advance, and Iran was instead. And God, I wish that had happened. Mainly, like, I was at Henry's Tavern selling beer at the time, and so they had it on split screen. And what was really interesting is that there was a Moroccan. He said he was Moroccan born, but he had a Cristiano shirt on, so he was watching both screens at the same time because, as a soccer fan, his favorite player is Cristiano Ronaldo, and he's watching him play for Portugal. But as the World Cup is, as much, if not more, about nationalism than it is soccer, his birth country attracted his eye, and so he was cheering at fun moments. So that was a pretty cool, like, 18 or so minutes, because I caught the World Cup in small chunks.
And that's, again, like if you were to come up with a list of why, maybe to non-football fans, like why to pay attention to the tournament, there's stuff like that just doesn't really exist. There's a couple
And
things
it's
that
not
are close,
going
like
to exist going
now,
forward.
like Major League Baseball with the way the wild cards work and stuff. There's like crazy shit where people are playing and you're like, if this happens, it's like three-way tie, and then this other thing happens, and like it's cool to follow it. But there was that at like a really, really significant caliber here with Iran. But I think there was a lot of that kind of drama. There was also the interesting things you were talking about Portugal, and it reminded me that Cristiano Ronaldo transferring to Juventus, and that they sold 520,000 Ronaldo jerseys in 24 hours. Yeah, it's a little nuts. And I got into a marketing discussion today with Glenn and Derek and a couple of other people, which of course devolved because why not? But just thinking about like not just the amount of money, but like the value that like Jeep gets out of this, because not that there weren't players in all sorts of countries buying Juve jerseys before, but Ronaldo just takes that to a whole nother place. And that's the kind of thing, like, as a marketing person, you sort of dream of, and it doesn't happen that often, obviously. And it was just interesting to see as, like, a byproduct of the World Cup.
Have you seen this minor fallout from that? Is the Syria, U.S.-based Syria television rights are up?
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
they're
year?
negotiating them right now. I think ESPN Plus is trying to get in on them for streaming rights.
And I know, well, Turner is supposedly involved. Sorry. Turner is supposedly a finalist for that as well. Because remember, Turner has Europa League and Champions League
yeah.
now. So that'll be interesting because normally Syria is on
BN,
BN, the
Goal,
Qatari
or one of
network.
the twos, yeah,
The goal's done.
yeah.
So those rights will be worth more money just because of one player, CR7, the other CR7.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorite moments, Adam?
I got one more favorite
Sorry,
moment.
Dave first.
Dave has another one.
Yeah.
Remember when we played the highlight and Ugo called it? And
then-
because we had a 16-second highlight, the 2-hour episode disappeared from the internet forever. Thanks, FIFA.
Yeah.
And it was funny because it was one of the episodes that people were like, hey, I wanted to go back and watch that. No.
Nope.
Can't do it. And that was because we used the official tweet, not like someone.
No, they would have known anyway.
You think? What if it was
Yeah,
reversed?
they strike those down with the
They
quickness.
do. Impunity.
Yes.
Like, because of how we do things, we couldn't even just like remove
Yeah.
the offending section.
No, I couldn't. Yeah, I couldn't even go back and download it.
Do you have that tweet?
Yeah.
No. Don't play
Not
anything
that
from
one.
the World Cup.
Oh, no, it's
this
not that.
one.
Okay. We need 17 people to watch this tomorrow.
It says, "I'm glad SonarFeed are talking World Cup because that tournament was so early. I watched 0 games."
Some of the games were at 11.
But that's when, some
Skip
people have
work,
to work.
that's what we do.
And see, for me, I watched I was home, but having 4 kids running around during the day, I watched them, but I wasn't able to really pay attention to what was happening. So I would say my favorite moment was actually
was this
from
tweet
the final.
video that you're going to show?
No, was this photo of Emmanuel Macron
Oh, yeah.
Dancing.
just
Excited after the win. Yeah.
sitting there 2 seats away from some guy named Putin. Yeah, it was
Soccer does not do it for him.
Yeah,
The president of Croatia standing in the rain while Putin has an umbrella.
Yeah.
Anyways, I just thought that was. It actually took me a few minutes looking at the photo. It took me a few minutes because I thought what was in front of him was a table, and so I was extra impressed thinking
No.
he jumped up on the table and he was doing that, and then I realized, oh, that's the ground. They just put monitors down on the ground. But
Well, yeah, he's also up high enough that he
could.
yeah.
yeah, it's still pretty fantastic.
You know what I miss from this World Cup that we had the last two was a
Damn.
That's a deep cut. That is a deep cut.
If you didn't hear it, you could imagine what was said.
I was going to say English language radio,
Yeah.
and maybe because I drive around in my car all the time, but I remember for both South Africa and Brazil, KJR would pick up games to just like
Oh, yeah.
fill like evening and weekend
Oh,
programming.
okay. Right.
And part of it was one, English radio didn't even exist, and then two, because the games were during like their biggest money making, they wouldn't have played them
Drive time.
for the most part. Like maybe they'd play the 3 a.m. But I wish like I would have signed up for Sirius for the month if they had the games on.
Yeah. Well, and it was funny. So 2 seasons ago, I had bought the premium tune-in because you got all the EPL. And that was clearly them doing like, we're going to gateway drug you for a year, get you in. And then it's like the next season came up and it was gone. And there is other stuff in TuneIn, but that was a huge hole for me. And what was funny, and there is an app for those stations, is you can listen to everything like up to the moment that like the players break from the photo. Like they'll call, they give you the whole call, and then they're like, due to rights restrictions, your country is not permitted to listen to this game. And you're like, cool. And then they play that for 2 hours. Over and over again.
Really.
Emily did point out Team Chaos.
And apparently, did you see? She said that her some of her tweets got deleted
Which is super
because
interesting.
she used her phone to record her screen, and that was enough
Really?
to warrant takedown.
I am both fascinated and creeped out.
Yeah.
I added to one of the links posts a thing about how FIFA hates dancing, I think was the headline.
Oh, yeah.
And what it was a compilation of films of people celebrating their nation's goals. And all of those, that compilation got taken down because
Oh!
in the background
Sorry.
Was the audio?
was the TV that they were watching and dancing to.
Oh.
And so the background, the subject matter is the people with like their awesome celebrations, but the TV had the game on, and so FIFA took the entire thing off of YouTube. So, yeah, FIFA has a shit ton of power when it comes to IP.
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
Don't mess with them.
Pussy Riot.
Good moment.
That was, yes. I thought that was pretty
You know who was
fantastic.
probably super, super thrilled about that?
That guy that was sitting a few seats away from Macron?
He was just inside must have been ecstatic.
Yeah.
Just celebrating the rights of people.
Right. Yeah.
No, probably not.
Definitely a celebration of democracy.
It really was. Right.
Right.
Back really quickly back to the takedown stuff. I remember it was quite a few seasons ago when MLB started implementing that same thing.
It was nuts.
It was nuts. But there was one guy who had, I don't even remember who he was, but him and his wife had just had a baby, and so he was posting photos or videos of the baby sitting on his knees, and the TV was over there. Anytime there's like a home run or a good hit, he'd be like, "And look how cute my little baby is," and you'd have the TV in the background. And his tweet was about the baby. But it
Minor
was-
soccer related
it was-
story to that
yeah, it was
is,
really funny.
Former Sounder Heart contributor Jose was
Yep.
one
Yes.
of the people
Yeah,
who
he-
had
yeah.
multiple takedowns for that. And
Where does he work now?
Didn't they like delete his account?
Yeah,
Multiple accounts. Yeah.
Well, one of them, one time was because of the NFL.
Oh.
But yeah, now he works for the Seattle Mariners because one, MLB has a better policy, and two, he's really good at
He's
making
really
people
good.
love the sports they follow.
Yes. Yeah.
I miss Jose.
You miss him.
I don't know
He
what
used to
happened in the
do
home.
more Sounder at Heart stuff.
Oh. In
Now,
that
like he
sense.
has a real job.
Now he has a
in
real
sports.
job. Right. Yeah, one of my favorite gifs of his or videos of his was the one. It was a Morris run where he did the Super Mario stuff. I think that
I think
was
that was
Sound
Yedlin.
Heart. No, it was Morris. It was the first
I
year.
think that was Lickett. Oh no, it was Jose.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
He because
You're right.
Yeah, I very much remember it.
Good call.
Oh yes, I would take a beverage.
Yes, please.
Old fashioned, please. I'm going to keep talking into the mic as I order my beverage of
I
choice.
should have just gotten a normal one. I can't suck that much down right now.
SonarFeed orders
brain
drinks.
freeze.
So
We're all ordering
speaking-
drinks at the Berliner Pub.
Speaking
Third
of
Main, downtown
Jose,
Renton.
I look down at Twitter, and there's Jose says, "Oh my God," all caps. He's watching Home Run Derby right now.
Oh, okay.
Immediately followed by Matt Oak saying, "What the fuck did Bryce Harper just put on the Infinity Gauntlet?" So
Wait, he killed
apparently,
We missed something.
only half. Bryce Harper may have just won
There was a
the Home Run Derby.
half blocks away that said, "Hit it here, Bryce," with a measurement of something like
Did he?
9 That's what I was pointing out.
Glenn points out that we're not treasonous. We're just treason adjacent.
Bryce Harper is trending.
Yeah, I read something. Yeah,
He may be good, and he has cool hair.
earlier he said something about how he's he's happy for all all the fans, all the guys here, and the gals and women.
Just had to fill that in.
Yeah, just
hit 9 home runs in 47 seconds.
No one knows. Just
Yeah.
go with it.
Go with it.
You can understand the physics of
Don't know. We'll
Oh,
probably get a takedown though for discussing it.
He didn't do a bat flip. He basically he almost like started walking and bench pressing his bat.
I just thought of another
Good sell.
Thing you
soccer
like?
related thing.
We should talk.
Soccer related thing that we need to add to the list, and I'll do it real quick because it's relatively quick. Sounders women, they finished
Continue
their
to womp
season.
on people.
They finished their season last weekend. At the top of their conference, they played this weekend at their conference finals. They whomped on at their first game on Saturday, whomped on their second game on Sunday, and they're headed to Oklahoma for the WPSL finals.
Congratulations! You
Yeah.
get to go to Oklahoma in the
Oklahoma.
summer.
Yes.
I've done that. Don't do that.
Good by me. Yeah. So anyway, that was fun. Got to broadcast those games, and it was fun watching them. I mean, they seriously, when you say whomped on,
Their goal differential is a lot.
their goal
They
difference
had a weekend where they won 10-0 and 10-1.
11.
Oh, sorry, 11-1. 10-0 and 11-1
Saturday and Sunday.
back-to-back games.
Saturday and Sunday. Yeah.
You're like, huh?
Yeah. And they play a total of like 8 games this season, and their goal differential was like 25.
Like that's more goals
I
than
think it's-
Atlanta's goal differential.
Speaking
It was
of
ridiculous.
other Sounders teams that aren't the first team, brought up by a couple of people here in the audience, so let's just praise those U17s that won the national title.
Yay!
4 of them are pros that you can see at S2 or watch on ESPN Plus. Disclosure: S2 pays me.
You too?
Yeah,
ESPN Plus, totally worth it.
it's like $5 a month, and you can watch
Pretty much everything.
ton of soccer, plus Major League Rugby, plus any college sport that isn't considered revenue.
Yeah, can't do it then.
There's some weird accidental blackout situation that's going on with ESPN Plus and the Sounders right now. This for outlying areas, we know. Oh, I meant Margarita. Oh, okay.
I believe they're working on it.
And
I got information
Also,
this
the
week that
cities of
says they're on
Chicago
it.
and Columbus are having some issues as well.
Yeah, in outlying areas, for some reason, somebody at ESPN decided that Root Sports still had the games
Right. So they're using the
They're
Root
using the
Sports
Root footprint.
contract as their footprint. Yeah.
for their blackout, but
for the geo.
so yeah, so like people in Alaska were getting Sounders games
5
blacked out on ESPN
People in
Plus.
Yakima.
From what I understand, it was 5 states. It was Alaska, Montana, Idaho, Oregon, and Washington.
Yeah, it's only Western Montana. by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, only Western
For
Montana.
Root Sports,
Portland and Yakima were blacked out.
Well,
Right.
yeah, like-
the only cities from what I understand, in the situation where you couldn't watch it on ESPN Plus, you could watch it on YouTube TV.
Right.
But at that point, you could only watch it if you're in the Seattle region. Do I have something on my face?
Or if you pay another $40.
No.
No, it's blacked out.
YouTube TV doesn't exist outside of... In Washington State, YouTube TV only exists in the Seattle market and the Spokane market.
Right.
So you can't spend extra $40 if you're in Yakima.
Right.
You're just not going to get
So yeah,
You
unfortunately,
could proxy.
Well, there are those things that you do.
Yeah, there are methods.
There are lots of great young kids on those U17 teams. Now, realize that most of them, because it's the U17s, are going to be like 3 years away from being a professional, unless for some reason they're a 15-year-old that's already a professional. Ray Serrano Lopez, or a 16-year-old Osriel Gonzalez, and Alfonso Campo, or a 17-year-old like Marlon Vargas. Outside of those guys, maybe Alex Diaz, Dylan Tevez, Blake Malone. Okay, so like a lot of the U17s are probably going to be professional and never go to college. Well, never be college soccer players. If they are college oriented, they will probably get something like Sam Rogers got, or Shannon Hopiau isn't going to a four-year school, but his
Which is a
education
really
is
good deal.
also helped out by the club. Some of the younger kids have requirements like actually attend high school today if they want to play. Yeah. But
Wasn't that the
pretty
deal
simple.
with, what was the kid's name on Portland? That the guy was on the first team? His last name escapes me right now.
Farfan.
Maybe, yeah.
They're Farfan, not related to the previous
Not
MLS
related.
Farfans, but
that
yeah.
was his deal, and it was like, Friday was this in school and played Saturday at noon. And you're like, wow, that's super fun.
Well, I mean,
I mean, it's happened before, but it was. I believe that was this. They have a different process, I think, from what they pay for from an education standpoint. At least at that point, they did. But that was, I believe, part of the deal was he has to go to school in order to be playing in those games. Like they actually were on top of it, which is cool because that's not the case in every country.
no, most of them don't care about school.
Yeah, it's good times.
So yeah, that's the U17s. The U19s are also pretty darn good. They just didn't make it as far in the playoff picture. But they're also the ones that are going to be closer to becoming professionals. So if like the academy season, like their preseason starts next week and a half, August 1st or something along those lines.
Forgetting it's mid-July.
So by
Yeah.
late August, you'll be able to watch academy games again at Starfire if you ever want to just like be right up next to the action. It's fun, and you can learn a lot about the team's direction.
Super cool. So should we maybe talk about the Sounders?
Sounds good.
The 3-game unbeaten streak, Seattle Sounders.
Three
We'll
game
take it.
unbeaten streak.
5 of 9.
5 of 9.
5 of 9 Sounders.
All on the road. Sounders.
So I guess we should just go back to that Colorado.
Hey, we're good now.
I saw that literally that night. Was it 4th of July?
Yes,
4th of
indeed.
July, that night, people were like, man, I'm so glad the Sounders have finally turned a corner this season. And I'm like, you need to throw your phone in a large body of water. Like, I'm not saying it didn't happen. Maybe
Right.
give it like
Yes.
27 minutes before declaring the season of victory. Like, yeah.
Supporter shield.
Stop.
Are we officially eliminated from that?
Just
No.
stop talking.
It's mathematically
Grazie.
possible.
It is mathematically possible.
We literally would have to win every single game.
You know what else is mathematically possible? That, what is it? 80% of the country could live in 8 cities and have like 20% of electoral votes. That's also mathematically possible. So let's maybe
Maybe it's not going to happen, though.
not think about that for a second.
Yes, please no.
But so victory at Colorado. Maybe they should stop having the Sounders there on the 4th of July. I don't know.
It was very nice of them to give us fireworks for us winning, though.
I mean, it's cool.
I mean,
Yeah.
We like fireworks.
they don't give you fireworks when you're 18, but, you know, they're really nice.
True.
so really quickly, he came
Yeah.
out and told me they didn't have vanilla.
Is there vanilla in there?
No, there's no vanilla. It's better.
Yeah.
without the vanilla.
You got a traditional
I know, yeah. I didn't know
Manhattan, and
I
now you
didn't
like
realize-
it better than the ones that you've been having.
Old-fashioned.
I didn't.
Old-fashioned.
I didn't realize that they were adding vanilla to it.
He ordered a vanilla.
What are you going to do
old-fashioned.
now?
I'm gonna drink it,
Oh, okay, cool.
and next time I'm
Now
gonna
he's
check
decided he
no
likes
vanilla.
it better.
All right, so solid,
Yeah, right.
solid performance
It's like
Ish.
discovering plutonium by
in
accident.
Colorado. Very good save. Again, Stephen Fry. Followed closely by one of the worst Sounders matches I have ever viewed more than 31 seconds of.
One of the worst songs
What happened?
period.
There was
Nothing
this
happened.
0-0
Yeah.
non-interesting match.
One shot on goal from each team.
And even that took how many minutes? Yeah, so
Was that the
70
Nico volley
And one
or
of
half-
Seattle
half
and
field
Seattle's shot
shots?
on goal was from like 55
Yeah.
yards away.
Yeah.
I think Brad Friedel said it best when he was like, he basically asked the media if they managed to stay awake during the game.
Yeah, so
In
that
his
happened.
in his post game
That
press
said,
conference.
it was a point. Take it.
A point from a team that right now is going to have a bye in the Eastern Conference. Now, a lot of
Somehow.
people think the Eastern Conference is better than the West, but
They're
the
gonna beat
mistake
the
is
shit out
that
of each
the
other.
top three teams in the Eastern Conference
are much better.
are essentially comparable to TFC last year. But looking at 538 for their team rankings by points expected, the next six best teams are all in the West. So,
yeah, it's
What-
definitely overstated.
yeah,
Overstated for sure.
the best teams are in the East, but
Not all of the good teams.
the good teams are all in the West. The West has more depth to it than the East. does
Weird.
this year.
So major media markets are getting a lot of credit for being the better team, like New York and Atlanta.
Well, Atlanta isn't actually a major media
It's
market,
a decent media market.
not compared to Seattle.
Not compared to Seattle,
They're
but compared
both-
to
like,
a lot of
Atlanta
other
is
places.
what, like 10th or 11th?
They're higher than that, I think.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
actually,
still-
I think you're right. I
but-
think you're right.
Like, this is
No
an
big
East
deal.
Coast bias discussion. It's
It's
a real
not
thing.
really an East Coast bias discussion because it's what people on the West think because they think because the West was garbage the last 2 years means it's garbage this year, and it's really not.
He's from Jersey.
Also, LA
Is
has
destroying people at home.
LAFC, yeah.
LAFC.
Oh, in fact, the Galaxy are on a 6-game
which is
unbeaten
super
streak right now.
interesting.
Without a defense.
Yeah.
How did they do it?
Well, to speak of teams without defenses, Real Salt Lake, who
We managed
somehow-
to lose to at home
yeah,
somehow.
if Seattle misses the playoffs, it will be because of the back-to-back with RSL, and those being both losses. Because RSL is exactly the type of team that the Sounders will be competing with for playoff spots 3 through 6, and 2 losses to any of those teams are going to be brutal. RSL is another team with no defense that
But at least they have
runs and guns.
epic ramp.
Atlanta, by the way, is the number 10 DMA.
So I said 10 or 11.
Yeah. That's really good still.
Seattle's
So.
13.
Out of how
And,
many?
and let's be honest, the West Coast teams.
Seattle is 14.
Does
Below
yours count-
Phoenix,
Does yours count Puerto Rico?
Tampa, St. Petersburg,
Yeah.
Atlanta, Boston, Houston, D.C., San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose, which is cheating,
No, San Jose is part of the San Francisco.
and Oakland.
Yeah, that's not cheating. That's like
It's cheating.
no.
Yeah.
That's like
Dallas,
North
Philly,
part of New
Chicago,
York.
Yeah.
Los Angeles, New York. Anyway,
Detroit?
Yeah, it's not really a
Detroit's
metropolitan
huge.
market thing, though.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
A lot of
they're
people
massive.
they've fallen
very
in
much.
ranking over
Yeah.
the past 20 years, but
They're still.
Anyway, your point.
But it's not really a market thing because San Francisco has a garbage team. The Galaxy aren't great. LAFC is great. I mean, the Rapids are. Denver's a pretty good sized market, and the Rapids might possibly be the worst team in MLS right now. San Jose would like to contest that title.
I mean, someone's got a gun for it at some point. It's
So,
weird, though.
same with
You're like, do
Minnesota.
I put in more effort to be bad or less effort and hope I'm bad? How does that work?
Well, Minnesota might have like the best player in the league at the moment. In Quintero, he just likes to lob goalkeepers for fun. But their defense is obviously terrible.
Yeah.
But they're entertaining to watch at least.
Which is a huge improvement over what Colorado and San Jose.
Yes,
had to
exactly,
suffer through.
exactly.
So yeah, the New England game was poor, but then we get to the Atlanta game, and that's the one that everybody remembers the most. 1-1 draw Sunday. The Sounders' only goal came off of a penalty that was created by Harry Shipp, because all Harry Shipp does is shoot from distance and hope somebody deflects it into the net, and in this case, they used their arm.
Did I hear? Because I was listening. I don't remember if I think I was listening to the radio at this point, but somebody said something. I want to say it was on the radio. Did anybody else hear Matt Stretch say that Harry off of the tall head of Harry Shipp?
Well, that wouldn't have been that moment.
Somebody
But no,
referenced Harry Shipp being tall, and I don't think he's that tall. Is he?
No,
He is not.
so much.
He's
That's a
5'9",
no.
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
But it
But
was.
I don't think
it
we
was-
ever headed it, so like
Maybe I was hearing wrong. I was driving to a gig, so I could have been listening wrong. I was listening wrong. That's what it was.
Sometimes that happens.
Yep.
Yeah.
But he played very well for most of the time he was
Yep.
in there. He was
And then that
pinging balls
sucked,
around.
having to get subbed out.
yeah.
he had that little like smirk, shake head, like there's I couldn't be any better, and
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
still
still getting-
coming off.
Here we go again.
He was interesting. I really liked that band of three. That was a possession based band of three, and it worked well. I adored what Jordy DeLem did.
Yeah.
The
He was fantastic.
You don't see it very often anymore. Like man marking is something that's kind of lost its trend. You're supposed to pass people through zones, and yet it was pretty clear. Like unless you're within X yards of the sideline, you shadow Miguel Almiron, and he did it. Like that is
He
an
did a good job, though.
MVP quality player,
Yeah.
and he got shut down.
Yeah.
By a league minimum defender from Martinique.
He did make two really good plays, though, as an audition for the Atlanta Falcons place kicker, Almiron. He booted two. That second one, and it was like, oh, give me the ball. And then he just swings, and it's just like, what? Why did you even take that shot?
Right stadium, wrong team.
Right. So, no, I think you have to feel good coming away from that match. Obviously, if at any point ever someone's like, take a point away
From Atlanta.
on a cross-country trip, forget Atlanta, just anyone, typically, Transcon, take a point away from a team that's decent, let alone really good, you are going to write home about that. So, got to be pleased with that. I think there's things to talk about, some granular details.
Hey, they had a lead for 4 minutes, man. That's drop points.
Well, they had the halftime as well.
I was talking with Dick Fain actually today, and I brought up the reason why it feels like drop points is because the 4 minutes of real time with the lead included, or of game time with the lead included the 15-minute halftime break. Like if the lead was minute 50 to 54, people have been like, oh, that's just what happened. Like, you wouldn't have thought that it was a significant lead. But because you spent all of halftime looking at, like, oh, Atlanta only has one win when trailing, or
Yeah.
when not scoring
When
the
not
first
scoring
goal.
first. Yeah.
And Seattle was undefeated, 3-0-0 when scoring first. Now only 3-0-1. And the halftime stats were obviously in Seattle's favor. So we just spent 15 minutes looking at how awesome that is. And then 3.5 minutes later.
So, I mean, let's ask the question that everybody's just been waiting to hear.
Oh,
Is Toto's Africa the best song ever?
I have a funny story about it.
My aunt just texted me to tell me that she heard it on the radio twice today.
It's a good song. I'm going to
anyways,
sidebar to this.
well,
It's
well,
actually, all
it
right,
is.
No. Let's ask the important question. How many games in a suspension would Clint Dempsey have gotten for the Martinez
75.
play? I heard
It's an
there was,
over
like,
under at about 4.5.
Somebody said 22 today, and I was like, it's kind of an NHL number. I could see them doing that.
He's suspended in 2 games after his retirement.
Yes.
I mean, he got suspended from multiple.
Yeah. There's someone still suspended from the Open Cup from like 2008. Who is it?
I.
Someone from the
Catalan
Fire.
Blanco.
Yeah, Blanco.
Yeah.
He's still suspended from the Open Cup.
But so do you? What's your take? Do you think anything comes of that?
I think he gets
And
a
by
game,
the way, shout
actually.
out to
Joseph Martinez?
our friend the Doc,
Joseph.
Perez.
who sent along
Joseph.
that gift.
Joseph.
Because they're going to be down a couple of players. Perez's double elbows to the head of
Yeah.
a player.
They gotta flag that.
What's interesting, that one's actually going to be harder because
Yeah, 'cause
it was,
they-
they gave a
Yeah,
yellow
they gave the
at
yellow on the-
time,
yeah.
which
Yeah.
means that
But you're not reviewing the yellow, right? Like you're reviewing it for.
you're viewing it for violent conduct, but it doesn't. The disco board
They're less
can't
likely
just
to
have a
yeah.
majority. They
Right.
have to have
Unanimous.
100% no dissent
Yeah.
on the group. Question from the audience.
How does the disco board decide what to review?
How does the disco board
Coaches be like, you
decide what to review? That's the question.
Can coaches tell them to go look at something?
Do coaches get to tell them,
Yes,
or do they just
and
review on
yes.
their
So
own?
teams do submit a list of, hey, give us feedback on this.
Yeah.
Because that's part of the educational process that a team needs to know, like, oh, that's a foul. Please explain why that was a foul, but this wasn't, so that we can change our behavior.
Yeah.
At the same point, this is in Perez, right? Got the player name right? What's his
Yeah,
full name?
Gonzalez Perez.
Leandro Gonzalez Perez.
Gonzalez
Yeah.
Perez, yeah. Okay. It was clearly blows to the head. They're going to review it, but at the same point, the ref did have a decent angle, didn't use VAR. So
And
that
this-
one is unlikely,
Yeah.
though.
I agree.
If a yellow wasn't shown, he'd probably be suspended 2 games. But a yellow was shown, and so he probably now won't
The
be.
sideline ref called that immediately. So
Well,
yeah,
and the
they
sideline-
saw it.
And the sideline gave the vigorous flag
Yeah,
wave, which
yeah.
is supposed to be
Yeah, this is
check
a yellow
for card, not
yeah.
not just merely this is a foul.
Sort of related to this, I just thought of another moment.
Oh,
Favorite moment from World Cup. Watching the rest of the world figure out how horrible Geiger is.
got a news flash for you.
He kept getting games.
Geiger's not horrible.
Yeah, he kept getting games.
Okay.
They sent half the referees home after the group stage. Geiger stayed. They sent another half of the referees home into the semifinal, and Geiger stayed. And he worked.
For the second World Cup in a row.
He
So wait,
Wasn't
so what
he,
you're saying is Geiger
He got a
is an
quarterfinal
asset
game.
of the Russian government?
center rep for a quarterfinal game
Yeah.
and VAR
Both
for
sides
one of the
here.
semifinals
It is
and
the-
the final.
I believe
Only
so.
explanation.
Both sides here.
Yeah.
So
He's
he
compromised.
does call games differently. He calls a stricter game
Yeah.
in the international level. On
Why do you
average,
have to take away the narrative that the internet wants, Dave?
because
I got your back, Dave.
Geiger was fine.
Release the PT.
he had a poor game, but on average,
He was fine.
like, look at everybody else that got sent home.
Yeah.
Like,
He was fine, but a lot more people than just us hated him. So it's okay.
People are also looking. at Geiger.
newsflash: everybody hates every referee or umpire in all of sports, always. Doesn't
Very much.
doesn't matter the league.
Nathan
You'll
Murphy's
never
pretty
find
good
fans
guy.
of any team or league that love their referees.
It's true.
you
I've
don't.
made
You don't.
pals with Corey Rockwell, and I still absolutely tell him to fuck right off when he makes a really terrible play. Like I will.
But I think you're supposed
I will
to.
like tweet at him. I'll be like, "Hey, I'll see you after the game at Taylor Shellfish," but that was fucking stupid.
So, but the more interesting one is Yusuf Martinez, who from the primary angle shown on TV thrust his head towards Chad Marshall and took a wild swing kind of in the air near Marshall's face that several Sounders have been suspended for not making contact.
Yes, for
and
less.
supposedly, if you swing towards somebody's head, you don't need to make contact, and he did that. And then from the reverse angle, you can see it. It's I don't want to use the guy's Twitter handle because he generally tries to be inconspicuous, but I also embedded him on Sounder at Heart.
You could just use it.
Lick it.
Cocktail MD has the reverse angle that like TV didn't show until like 10 minutes later, and it shows he clearly headbutted Chad Marshall, and so Josef Martinez will miss 2 to 4 games. He will miss 2 to 4 games.
I'd say 2.
It will probably be what costs him the MLS single season record.
Oops.
Because he's on pace for 31 goals.
Yeah.
To put that in perspective, former SonarFeed guest Roy Lassiter merely scored 27.
And that guy was pretty good.
He's made some great Pixar
We had him
movies.
sit right here. Chris Wondolowski, who hasn't been on the show because we don't have enough W's to request him, also 27, and Bradley Wright Phillips,
Yeah.
He's decent as well.
also 27.
Yeah.
And Josef Martinez is at this time on pace for 31 goals scored.
I still think I'll break it.
If he gets a 4-game suspension, I don't think he'll break it. If it's just 2, I think he breaks it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Nice.
And if it was Clint Dempsey rather than Josef Martinez, who doesn't have a history of breaking people's arms, face, nuts, yeah, Clint Dempsey, due to his history, will get a more significant punishment. Just like anybody else in any justice system, the more frequently you break the rules, the more likely it is for you to be punished.
He would get
and
the
harsher.
what is it like who is it? SMU?
The death penalty.
The death penalty.
Seems a little
Clint
harsh.
Dempsey's just gone. They're like
He's been
this
erased
long.
from the record books.
Like, sorry.
Question from the audience.
We think Kim's going to get suspended for the...
No.
Do we think Kim's going to get suspended? Was the
Yeah,
question?
Kimke, he did pull. He did pull a guy down to the ground.
It's not
but
violent conduct.
That's not a cardable offense.
Was that the tweet that the team put out?
Yeah.
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 A lot of whining.
I mean, that could have been a
Yes.
penalty.
Yeah.
Then again, I mean, Atlanta United players regularly use their hands and arms to deflect the ball when it was shot on goal. So
Well, that's why I think Nico went and grabbed that ball. He was like, well, it's okay. Everybody else has been doing it, so I'm just going to grab this.
I think Nico thought he heard a whistle.
Yeah,
It
he
never happened.
Yeah.
All countries do it. I mean, all players do it.
Because Christian got hammered,
Yeah.
and there was
I'm
like
part of
an
this
advantage
conversation.
call.
Was there an advantage call?
Like, yeah, he did the advantage signal, but Nico's like, "Cool, that fell, huh?"
Yeah.
And then, like, every Atlanta United player is like looking at him like, "Oh, what?"
Yeah.
That's cool. I'll take it. Could be worse.
Dude, we stole a point from a team that entering the game was on pace to beat the point total of the greatest team of all time.
What was the goal differential? 17 or 18 going in?
19.
19.
Assist from the audience.
It's his own stupid Twitter joke that he's not remembering goal differential.
Yeah, so they were
Sounders, 15 goals total.
they were pacing for 70 points going into the. Also, still pacing for no trophies
Cool.
because
Gotta
they
stay
weren't ahead in
consistent.
points per game.
Bummer.
I'm gonna love when Atlanta gets no trophies again, yet still acts as if they're the best team in the history of the game.
I will say, though, Mark
Atlanta invented
Kastner
soccer.
is all over them, taking them to task about anything when they talk about themselves being super amazing. He's all over. He's like, you guys did a super great job in the playoffs last season. Thanks for your service.
Okay, I've got a question. Maybe this will lead us into the next segment. What the hell happened on Twitter? Like, why is there this big whatever? Because I missed it. I've been offline, not offline, but not really following along. And I also
Between
don't ever
Atlanta
see,
fans and Sounders
yeah, I
fans?
also
So
don't see
I
any
think
Atlanta
it's just
fans
two
tweets.
big fan bases.
But
going
no,
at
no.
each other.
But what is it?
know.
What is the?
That's what it is. Like, you
Yeah.
can't say that's not what it. Like, that's what it is. It's just two arrogant fan bases who think they've invented soccer, arguing.
I guess what is the? Okay, I thought there was more to it.
Play interesting
See, this is what I want to know. Like, what is it? What is the argument that's being made?
I mean,
what's the
interesting is
argument
all
that's being
relative.
made?
Yeah.
That argument.
So wait. What was the argument?
The argument that is, there are Atlanta fans that say that the Seattle Sounders didn't play interesting enough soccer for national television.
Yeah. We killed soccer, basically.
But
Okay,
Their
because I saw
frustration
Lickett's banner,
resides
you know,
from-
all that stuff.
the final 30 minutes when the Sounders did bunker and didn't attempt to leave their own half very often. And their frustration also has to do with the fact that the last 5 teams that they've faced at home that have attempted to bunker have prevented them from winning.
Yes.
Against
Yes.
teams that concede possession at Mercedes-Benz Arena.
Weird. It's like it was strategic.
Yeah. Here, newsflash: defense is a tactic.
Huh.
Yeah, a lot of people have been on me lately because I say that Brian Schmetzer is not tactically incompetent. He's just a defensive specialist, and defense is a tactic. And at this point, if you're 2 years in and you've had the best a top 3 defense in the league every single season, it's not an accident, and it's not just because Chad Marshall and Stephen Fry are awesome. Yeah. There is nothing significant about the banter between Sounders and Atlanta United fans, except for the fact that the two fan bases are larger than any other fan bases in the league. So it seems more significant because there are more people. But it's not significant. It's not an actual rivalry.
No, but I guess the
I think Adam's trying
The
to point out
question
the
was-
high level of apparent stupidity.
right.
I mean, you should look at Sounders fans from 09, 10, 11,
For sure.
12, 13. We behaved very similar to what Atlanta United
If
fans are
I
doing.
was not, as I haven't been, online, and I don't follow, and nor do I really care much about other team-based fans, all I see are people saying, subtweeting Atlanta fans. I have no idea what's going on. So
And you should just keep it that way.
But I guess to me,
Yeah.
Mute.
Ignorant.
Is a
the
good
next
feature of
segment
Twitter.
we have
Yes.
is literally SonarFeed reads tweets, and there's quite a few of them that are about this topic. So I was hoping to provide some context
Do you
for our
wanna-
listeners
Do you want to read them?
who might not follow along.
Okay.
So I can.
Why don't you bring them up?
Let's do that.
How would anybody who's not a Twitter user follow this show?
No one's sure.
Speaking of, did
So
we actually tweet about
McDonald's
the show?
grilled chicken McWrap at 250
No,
calories
no,
is
that's
both
not
a
the one.
dollar and pound.
That's an improvement.
That's not the right one.
That's not the one.
Wait, what?
Wait, but Newt Gingrich tweeted about McDonald's grilled
It
chicken
was in
wrap.
2013.
Oh, damn, that's not relevant.
Pay attention to your date time groups, man.
Okay, so let's go on to the next one.
This is a good
Braggle
one. Braggle.
wants to know, my question is this. What do Atlanta United fans understand about soccer that I do not? I saw so many tweets. This is my question. I saw so many tweets saying the Sounders played very boring. Atlanta could not win while playing a man up.
I just think it's just about Atlanta being sour that they did not get a result, and they're just
Yeah.
projecting that failure
Weird.
Hey, remember 2014?
on the Sounders' tactics.
Yes.
2014 when the Seattle Sounders played at the highest pace of any team up until 2016. I haven't seen pace of play stats since then because Toronto hired the guy that used to do the pace of play stats. So we don't have access to that anymore, damn it. Toronto. Or wait,
Many reasons.
no, Devin Poulet went. I think he might have went to the Galaxy. One of them. Teams
Is that
keep
Bregel's
hiring
tweet?
the stats dorks.
Bragel's tweet.
Okay. Cool.
But in 2014, if the Seattle Sounders that was the Obafemi,
Clint Femi.
Clinfemi, O'Martins or whatever. God, I can't do it anymore. And Nagel had 9 and 9, and Chad Barrett had like 7 goals.
Cooper chipped in a few.
Yeah, and in that year, if at home we got held to 1 goal because the opposing team played negative soccer, we would have been frustrated. So Atlanta United fans are justly frustrated because, yes, the Sounders played boring soccer. It also got them a point on the road against the best team in the league at the time.
with a
While a man down.
down.
While a man
Super
down.
weird.
That is boring soccer. It's also the right way to play when you have to win when you have to not lose.
It's because they're in
essentially
like
for the rest of
we're
the
gonna play Crash and Destroy every week soccer, and they're like, oh, so if we had like 5 Parkhursts on our team, this is what our team would look like. Got it.
No, if they had 5 Laurentowicz, they'd play like that.
Got it. Fair.
Remember, he's the one that mocked the Boom Boom Clap?
Yeah.
There's still a Sounder Heart staffer who won't forgive him for that.
So it seems Lickett has
He summarized literally all
of
of
them
the tweets.
in photo. So here's a kind of a tweet spread from that
I
Lickett
think that
has.
We've covered this.
I'm not gonna
subject
read 'em
a
all.
little bit, but I think that there
Too
was
much?
some good stuff. Like Seattle was grabbing us all game. I hope the ref got a lot of Starbucks and Amazon gift
That's
cards.
actually a pretty good comment. I thought that was pretty funny.
Oh, did you see the Atlanta fan who went to Matt Doyle and said, that's one of the worst refereeing performances I've seen in my life? And Matt
Doyle came back with a
Doyle
pretty
goes,
epic troll
You're right. Atlanta somehow finished with 11 men or something like that.
after showing the video of
lovely
Martinez
response
from
headbutt.
Doyle.
Yes.
If there was any bias in that refereeing, it was... If
All right. So
bias is the wrong word. If the referee made multiple errors, they were more in Atlanta's... They were in Atlanta's favor.
Yes.
So we're gonna stop beating this dead horse.
Instant replay said that both Martinez and Perez should have been sent off, and that there should have been another penalty against Atlanta. And they did say that Kim should have been penalized for his foul on that set piece. But I mean, we should have been. We should have watched the glory of a 10v9 3 penalty kick
Love
game.
those. JJ did
Not
point
been
out
boring.
in the chat that we did make it interesting by shooting on our own goal. Which, if you watch that again, and it was funny because
That was
I
Bruin
watched it
attempting
real,
to clear the ball.
and like the ball comes at him, and he's just like on it. And somebody on Twitter was like, "He's clearly just a striker. He just sees the ball, has to put it in the net." And I was like, "That's accurate. I'm going to accept this as reality and
reptile
move on."
mentality for a
Yes,
minute. Just
is in.
Yeah.
So what else you got?
All right. So Joe.
Are we still doing retweets?
Joe Buffalo,
segment?
who is in the chat today, and I'm hoping that I said your name right, and I'm also hoping that it is Buffalo, because that's a really rad last name, says, did I sell my soul too soon when I traded the Sounders playoff appearance for a Mariners playoff appearance? And if so, does anyone know the refund policy?
Do not. Don't
Nah,
know.
sadly I don't.
But that was a good tweet.
That was a good one. And then earlier today, we put out a call for tweets, but we also said that remember the MLS Cup when we told you to dress for cold weather? Don't do that tonight. Maybe just don't dress because it's so hot. And our wonderful friend Sugar Toes says, "Is this just giving Mark an excuse to wear the Eagle Speedo?" We're fortunate that Mark is not here because that might actually
that would
be
probably
a case.
have actually
Yes.
happened.
He won't wear that here.
He won't hear it.
I don't know.
All right, and then the last one, and I tried to get the videos for this, but unfortunately they weren't
They're
working.
not playing.
They just weren't working. But that's happening really slowly.
It's cool. It's got a neat fade effect.
It did.
Yeah.
It did. So during the I think it was before the round of 16 even, during group stages, Liam put out a video that was him. Huh?
James put out a video.
No, Liam put it out first, I
He
thought.
did? I don't think
James put out his video first?
Can't put It's Coming Home video out because he's not from England.
No. I'm saying right.
He's from England, and Liam did the French one.
He did.
I know. I thought Liam did the French one first. Is what I was saying. But anyway, James put out a video. Then Liam put out a video, in that order, from what I am now being corrected. Using Liam used his fake accent, and James used his fake accent.
Those are
To
still
discuss,
my
I
favorite
know,
Reddit comments.
yes, they are to discuss their favorite teams. And anyways, we thought this was funny. Better fake accent in the World Cup bandwagon video, me or BritVox? And James says yours was definitely the fakest, which I thought was pretty
I'll
clever.
agree.
Sure.
We concur.
I'm going to make this not go away in 3 seconds. It's going to dissolve.
Maybe slightly
and just
quicker.
cut.
Yeah.
There we go.
Live
That's
production here on
Look at that.
SonarFeed.
I'm going to show you a little behind the scenes footage there.
Cool.
Anyway, so those were the tweets we had for the day.
So We
I
can talk
played
a
the
little
other
bit of prediction-y type things for this weekend
Wait,
match.
prediction-y?
But I wanted to
We
grab
got a half
Max.
hour before predictions.
Yeah, well, yeah. But I wanted to grab Max.
He has
Aquino.
more sentences to say.
Can we weave Max in here somewhere?
Yeah, he
I
can.
can scoot
join
over.
us.
Yeah, come over here.
Max,
Yeah,
you want
it might be easier to have you slide over there because all these
what?
cords. Slide over
We're
there
gonna bring Max
next to
in.
Mickey. We're gonna bring the Max.
He's gonna eat Mickey's dinner.
By the way, tonight Mickey had the cast iron mac and cheese, no bacon. You can get that at the Berliner Pub,
Yeah, it's really good.
downtown Renton, 3rd and Main.
Brand new kitchen.
Hello.
Brand new
Brandon
kitchen.
Kitchen's actually open.
Yes.
It opened on July 5th, and we didn't have a show the next day, the next opportunity, because
Shocking.
we're
We are
great at
always
planning.
timely. Yeah. There is no blue cheese tonight. So
No blue cheese.
Sorry to disappoint.
Hey, you know what's coming up?
How did you
Sounder-
get blue cheese? Someone went to the store.
No, there's blue cheese crumbles.
Oh,
but
that's
there's
right.
not blue cheese. Cheese
No blue cheese like
dressing.
for. I think they made it. You got from scratch.
Maybe it's ranch with blue cheese crumbles inside.
Don't act like no place has ever has ever done.
I do it
that.
at home.
Yeah, Adam's actually doing it right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, Max Aquino,
Hello.
how are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you
Go ahead and
guys?
slide that a little bit closer to your face, dude.
All right, here we go.
There you go.
So we can talk to you about a couple things. Obviously, big game on Saturday, daytime.
Pub league. We're talking pub league specifically.
No, we're talking
No?
about Sounders. Pub
We're
League
talking about-
has concluded for this session.
I thought that was the point.
It
Isn't
is.
that why we have him here?
I said we were going to talk about a couple things.
Fine, go ahead.
Okay, we'll talk about Saturday real fast, and I'll also include Pub League too. My team actually said today, "Hey, can't we use your our sponsor's influence to get us all on the field?" I'm like,
Wait, what?
my team today on our page said, "Hey, can we somehow use our sponsor's influence to get us on the side of the field?" And
I'm the sponsor.
yes,
Do you have any influence?
I might not after this.
well, how I responded was, "Well, our sponsor is using their mighty influence to get me on the sidelines of the field."
It's true.
Can you just like give all of them a camera,
I don't see why not.
like one of those little disposables?
Hey, Alex, we need 15
Press
photo
passes?
passes.
15 one-day photo passes, please.
That definitely seems like something that they would approve. Never.
Oh, but it's no.
They gave me a press pass. So
That's fair. That's fair.
what are their who knows what their standards are like?
Mickey has gotten a press pass recently. He's in between mics. Mickey, what's it
Between
like
two
to-
mics?
What's it like to watch the game from the press box?
It's a little sterile.
Yeah.
The view's nice though, and the food's okay.
This is why every time people go to ask me, "Hey, isn't it great that you get a press pass?" And I go, I don't watch games from the. I mean, I do S2 games because they pay me.
But you have those cool like garage door.
Yeah, but I
Plexiglass
don't do
windows.
first team games from the press box because I want to enjoy first team games. Not that I don't enjoy S2 games. If you're watching, Casey. Okay, so Max is here.
So let's talk about Pub League.
Let's talk about
Pub league.
To start off, for
I
the
don't
people
have
that at home that don't know what the heck Pub League is, it's through the Emerald City supporters. It's a league that has two divisions, but basically it's designed for people that are beginning in soccer or haven't played in a long, long time and are out of shape. And really, the whole point is to get all the supporters to start learning each other's names and learn the game of soccer. Yes, sir.
I have a question.
Yeah.
If we had pro
His
rel,
name's Max.
My team would have gotten relegated. Though we did get picked to play in the first match over the weekend and did take them to penalties.
That's right.
how long would it take the best team to get to MLS?
There are so Max, there are currently 7 teams
There
in
are-
Pub League, right? 3 in what's called the Classic division.
Yeah, we have
which
two
is
divisions. We have
less
the
competitive.
we have the Premier Division, which is people that kind of graduate out of the lower division, and then we have what's called the Classic Division. It used to be called Championship. It was a nice obscure reference for those people who know English soccer. For the rest of us that don't, it wasn't very funny at all. So we changed it to. It's hard when we're trying to advertise to beginners and they look at it and says Championship, Premier. Well, which one's the beginner division? Yeah. Good question. So we changed it this year. It's Classic, Pub League Classic and Pub League Premier. we'd like to change that from there, even there, but it doesn't matter.
7 teams
7 teams, yes.
total.
Next season, we're hoping to get back up to 8. We want 4 in each division. It really depends if beginners out there want to play. We had a season off back in the fall. We only play twice a year, so we were basically off for an entire year, so we lost momentum. And it looks like we now have a consistent field, which is good. The season was good. It went a lot better than we expected, honestly. It was a lot of fun. Both divisions were balanced. Between first and fourth was only 9 points in Premier.
What team took first?
That was the Killer Rabbits of Cabernet, or the Killer Bunnies, whichever one you prefer, of Cabernog.
Who's their sponsor?
That would be Sounder at Heart.
Did you show everyone your jersey?
Oh, yeah.
I'm wearing.
He's wearing that one, and also
And
show...
I've got this one.
Oh, that one? Wait, where's
Yeah,
one that says Sir
yeah.
Dave, the sponsor?
Oh, wait, that's this one.
What's the difference?
So they play in the white ones. My team had white. And they all had basically Monty Python jokes as their name. So that was pretty cool. And that's why the generic shirt, which was worn by whoever showed up that week, was called 3, Sir, because they needed to count to 3 for the holy hand grenade. So
Right. What comes next?
one is, if you want to play in the fall season, who do you get in touch with, and how do you do that, Max?
So currently the best way to do it is go to Facebook and look up ECSFC Pub League or ECSPL, and that's the best way to get a hold of us right now. Send us a message. I check it basically 3 times a day.
You can also reach out to Max Aquino
Yep.
Photo on Twitter, or even Tom, or
Correct.
any of the ECS accounts. They will steer you in the right direction.
You can reach out to me, but I don't know what'll
But
happen.
we'll be recruited. We're going to start
retweet
getting
them.
things up.
Yeah.
We're already planning for next season, which is starting on September 9th. We're going to be getting the teams organized in early August. So, and then there comes the big push for jerseys, team names, all that sort of stuff. So, as far as things go, stay tuned. We are going to be getting that going because it's a very short turnaround this season. One of the fun things about Pub League is every single season we start new teams, and they all have very unique themes. They have unique names. The team that won the Cup in Premier this season was called the Brutang Clan, which was a fantastic name.
Who's their sponsor?
That was Century 21.
Yes. By the way, if they get up to 8 teams, there's a sponsorship available if you'd like to sponsor Pub League. I highly recommend it. It's fun watching your team succeed.
Yay! Tom's team was the Pharmacy, which was sponsored by Temple.
By Temple Billiards. Yep.
What does a sponsorship take? What is it? What?
Give us money.
Yes, but
How much money? Or
what, you're going to ask people for it. Pitch them now.
okay, so,
what is it?
Right now, the sponsorship fee is $250 for one team.
And what do you get?
You get your name on a jersey, you get the sponsor, and then you get the sub jerseys at the end of the thing, and we'll also promote you on our main page as well.
Sweet. Cool.
I just did it because I wanted to see Emily's Leviathan out there, but I've got a different idea for the logo for next season, and it's not going to be the Leviathan. So it's cool.
Stay tuned.
But,
It
It's gonna
won't
be
say
Adam.
Sounder at Heart
It's gonna be Adam reading. Adam reading tweets.
but
Next to Mark.
I mean,
The Speedo.
Oh God.
So the team that,
SonarFeed should sponsor a team.
How do I unplug the show?
oh boy.
It's this one.
So the team that I sponsored this season was called the Shin Guardians of the Galaxy. That's another fantastic team name, by the way, and I loved those guys. They actually took my photography logo and had it getting blown to smithereens by a spaceship, which I loved. There's a lot of creativity that comes out. The teams usually dive right in and really embrace the theme that they pick. Tom, your team picked different drinks that the Pharmacy does from Temple. Is that correct?
And generally speaking, it was cocktails people liked. We did have someone named I Hate IPAs. He had a specific opinion. I did who's it, Karsten? I don't know if this was intentional or not, but he was sample text.
Yeah, that was intentional, but it was
That was
hilarious.
wonderful. I was like, when you have a witty idea, but you kind of
It's
want to
a
mail it in
sample
at the same
text.
time.
Well,
It'll probably be a few years because Shingardians of the Galaxy, but my name would be Shingardium Leviosa.
By the way,
Wow.
Harry Potter
you
theme, I
should
like
play.
it.
Leviosa.
Not
The
Leviosa.
fourth Premier League team was Roll 20s.
So there was the Brutang Clan, the Pharmacy, the Killer Bunnies, and then yes, the Rolling 20s, which was a combination
Kind of wish
of
that sponsored
Nice.
that one.
Yeah.
That was like that was
No
Dungeons and
offense, team
Dragons
that won
themed
from-
as well as
No
Seattle
way.
themed because they their colors were burgundy and green of the old Sonics, and then they had a gold collar as well.
Okay.
Now the funny thing that popped up with that team, they realized that after everything had been ordered, there's actually a gang in Southern California called the Rolling 20s.
Oh,
Like it was serious.
Yeah, an actual serious gang. Now, luckily, their colors were black and gold, so
so what you're saying is they had a supporter section every week.
of sorts, yes. Then in the classic division, the three teams were the Iron Council, which was an obscure joke that no one got, and no one still gets. Then the Big Green. Which
Explain it.
it has.
Max also doesn't get it.
No one gets.
I could explain it, but it's really not funny enough to waste my time on, so I'm not going to.
Okay.
Although they did win the cup, and then the last team was then the Shin Guardians, of course, and then the very last team, they were called the Big Green, which is based off that kids movie, but they're sponsored by Flat Stick Pub, and then then on the back of their jersey they all picked golf names, which was hilarious. My favorite one was Putter Nonsense. That was a good one.
Nice.
Frequent attendee of SonarFeed.
Yeah,
Bookworm was in the classic division.
correct. She was.
On the green team.
She was even up for. She got nominated for the Fun Award, which was for the person that comes out and has a great time and encourages others to have a good time as well. She was a great nominee for it as well.
How long does the season last?
How
10
long does
weeks.
this season last? 10 weeks was the answer.
So some fun things
You
about
heard
the
that
league
part.
is if you are in the lower division, it didn't happen this season, but if we can make it work, we have had former Sounders come out to kick the ball around with us on what we call Fun Week, a.k.a. Beer Week. This time for Beer Week, the lovely lady that won the Fun Award, she actually brought 150 Jello shots with us.
Nice.
And then the biggest failure of public is that she walked away with 30 of them. Fail boat.
Oh, that's
Tom!
sad. So you said that you had
could've
trouble
fixed
finding a
that.
field.
What's that?
You said you had trouble finding a
No, they have a
field
permanent field now.
previously.
Okay, so
where are you playing now?
Okay, we are going to be up near Northgate at Eagle Staff Middle School / Cascadia Elementary.
Where is that?
That is on 90th and right off of Aurora, like by a block.
Okay, 90th and Aurora.
So you can score on Aurora?
Yeah, you can score on Aurora. So,
That was
All
I
it takes
can't
is
hit
money.
it's-
I mean, what?
but the best thing about it is the reality, and the soccer leagues around here won't deny this. There's no such thing as beginner soccer in Seattle. Even the low divisions of RATS, which is the premier co-ed division, the biggest co-ed league right now, the lowest division, you have to have a floor of pretty darn good to survive there, as Tom can attest, because Rainier plays there, and it's rough at times. So for the fact that our top players play in the lowest division of RATS, that kind of tells you that there's lots of points to this. One, we're trying to teach the game. We've got the coaches out there explaining to players how to play, how to pass. Some of them have never touched a soccer ball before. We actually, the first person, one time this season, someone came out without shin guards or shoes because they thought they didn't know they needed them. We had spares, luckily. But
Wait, they didn't what?
they didn't even know that they needed shin guards
To play soccer?
to play soccer. They didn't know that.
Okay.
But we explain the rules. We explain basic strategies. It's one of the coolest things to me is seeing someone who's been playing for 3 or 4 seasons and they score their first ever goal. And let me tell you, they go nuts. It's fun. The coaches actually each this season for the classic division, they each picked a player where they said, "I'm going to get that person a goal," and the it's not so much a bet as a gentlemanly thing that they have among each other. Is if that person scored a goal, the other coaches had to buy them a beer, and that happened to 2 of the 3 this season, which
Nice.
is awesome.
It
It was awesome. So it's cool. If you want to come out, that's what I highly recommend is come out for classic. If you haven't played in a while, come out, try out and we'll come kick the ball around with you, and we'll tell you which division you belong in, and we just want everyone to have fun. That's the important thing.
So I got a tough question.
Wait.
Oh, go ahead.
Really quick, can we remind everybody what it took for the Killer Bunnies to turn around from being the worst team in the league to winning the regular season title?
After week 4, the Killer Bunnies were in dead last, and then
Mark stopped showing up?
Mark made it
that's
to
actually
4 out of 10 weeks this season. I think Dave might have been at the field for more weeks than that.
I only went once. They told me not
Why
to
can't
come
you
back
just roll
because
with my narrative, Dave?
they had a 1-0
Dave
loss
doesn't like narratives.
and a 0-0
Killing
draw.
narratives.
I thought it was hilarious because
90 minutes.
the week I went was a week that Mark didn't go. And for like the first 3 weeks, I'd call Mark before every week and I'd be, "This is your sponsor. You better play well or I'm cutting you." And then he just stopped going.
See, I always tell my teams that I sponsor that they have to make the playoffs. The running joke being that everybody makes the playoffs.
It's like MLS.
Yeah, they kind of. But it's
Not this year.
It's fun. I mean, this. And I'll say, Tom, that when it came to like picking teams, we had a big debate on it because I didn't want to pick you guys. I was just like, they already have a chip on their shoulder. I actually wanted to pick Brutang in the first round, but that's because we actually had our best luck against them over the three teams. This was literally the most parity I've ever seen, where every team could show up with a chance to win that day.
It was pretty good, and having been on teams before where you got picked because you were what was perceived in that moment to be the worst of the two in the matchup, and both times the team that I was on took the other team to penalties, which was great. So it doesn't always work out the way that people think it's gonna. But I think what you brought up before about whether it's like having Sounders players come out or whatever it is, I think it ends up becoming a really kind of cool community around soccer that isn't necessarily about ECS or anything else. It's just people who want to play soccer and have a good time on a weekend.
This reminds me, do you need to be an ECS member to play an ECS Pub League?
You do not. You get a discount if you're an ECS member, but it's not required by any means.
So that leads to my question that I've been thinking about. Do you cut people? Do
No.
people not make the teams?
So no. If you
So
sign up
anybody can show up,
Anyone
and,
can show
and
up.
you'll pretty much be assigned to a team.
Yep, that's absolutely. Now, the one thing that we will do is if someone's too good for the lower
Not give you
division-
shin guards.
What's that?
Not give you shin guards.
But if someone shows up and they are too good, we've had people basically be a one-man wrecking crew or one-woman wrecking crew, and several times too. And we moved
that's
them
when
up.
they move up.
We actually moved up one person this season right off the bat.
They get promoted.
And we do it on an individual level, not a team level.
Okay. And then there's a question from the chat that do you play on a grass field?
No, we play on turf.
Okay.
And Cascade Middle School is brand new turf. It's Eagle Staff Middle School and Cascade Elementary School. It's brand new turf. It's fantastic. I just looked at the field on Saturday night. I love it already. It's going to be a good fit for us.
Cool.
So
That's awesome. So, got a couple minutes left for show tonight. Sounders, Whitecaps on Saturday at 1.
How are the Whitecaps doing? First, give me that, because I haven't been paying attention. How are they doing?
Not so great.
Where are they in the standings? Do we know?
Well, they're above us, but not by that much.
Okay.
So this is a win that would be quite helpful for us.
Yeah.
I feel like, actually, I have the standings right here, so I'll tell you. But they're ahead of us.
Loading.
Yeah.
Loading.
Yes.
Still loading.
They're still loading. They have 26 points on 20 games. So we've got a couple of games in hand on them, and they just got beat up by DC United
The
on
key
the weekend.
figure is, despite the fact that they're known for having a good offense, because they do have 30 goals, which, God, wouldn't it be great to have 30 goals? They have a negative 10 goal differential because Carl Robinson is a trash coach.
Yeah. I'm shocked he's still around.
It's really easy when you don't have standards, so your coach doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And that's the Vancouver Whitecaps of the MLS era. It's sad because in the NASL and A-League and USL eras, it was the Whitecaps and the Sounders that competed for titles.
Yeah,
and it was
they're quite good.
The Timbers, who were a joke of an organization that didn't know how to play soccer. And now it's Portland and Seattle that compete for titles, and Vancouver that exists.
Yeah, they just don't spend any money.
That was a little harsh,
Yeah.
but also true.
They don't spend money, and they jettison their USL team, and they send them down to Fresno, but none of them actually play.
Yeah, they've also got a weird thing because they have a full resident.
Yeah, they have a full. Yeah, they
Academy?
got something nobody else has
But
except for
they don't,
I think RSL.
Philly's got it now.
Oh, Phillies. Yeah, they do.
And Dallas kind of, sort
Sort
of.
of.
But they also don't play their youngsters besides Alphonso Davies. It's like,
Yeah.
heck, I still wish, like, if they're not going to play Tybert, I want him here. Like, he'd be a fun kid to have as a defensive midfielder or as a left back because he can play both of those positions. And they treat him as this afterthought. And up until Davies, he was the best young Canadian player in the world. I mean, it's Canada, so the world's not that big. I mean, there's a lot of acreage, but
Yes, that's true. But we should be in for a fun weekend. Rui Diaz starts, most likely. I'm gonna run out to practice tomorrow after court.
and it is Heritage Night, and there is a unique white cap for the Whitecaps game using the Heritage logo or the original, like.
Wait, when you say a white cap, do you mean like a baseball hat or like a toque?
It's
Because it's Canada.
it's more that low crown golf cap though, isn't it?
It's a baseball.
It's higher.
Yeah, it's a trucker hat. I mean, it has a tall.
Boo. You can also get the Mitchell and Ness dad hat in the store, and that uses the classic logo on white. I think I've worn it here. That's the low crown
Is that
like, golf cap.
Is it a Seattle Snoozers hat? Because that
So
logo
bad.
has been super popular on the internet today. Yeah,
I've seen a couple versions.
good times. So, Sounders, to step back to reality for a second, Sounders have to feel pretty good coming into this. Obviously, 5 points of 9. Rui Diaz should be available.
Yay.
We already saw Svensson on the field the other day.
He should be starting. one would
Expect to
think.
see a number of players that, we want to get a little bit more of. Maybe
Maybe not Dempsey. Yeah.
no one knows. But maybe we see Leerdam
If
in
would
the
hope
11.
so.
We
don't
saw-
have any other options.
oh yeah,
Except for
McCurry,
right back
McCurry is
Roldan.
suspended. So
Yeah.
So anyway, you're playing at home. Big deal. Beautiful weather in theory, although that could probably change at any moment. But Sounders genuinely have to feel pretty good going into this. And again, it's a Cascadian match. All bets are off no matter what.
Yep.
And they need points. If you're going to do something, this is the moment to do it. They've got at San Jose next
Who are a tire fire.
next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Followed by NYCFC at home the
Yes.
following Sunday.
NYCFC is interesting because they lost their coach
Yeah.
to 69 FC. I mean, Nice.
Nice.
I get it.
And like the Sounders, they'll be on short rest.
And I think they're playing in Orlando
Yeah.
on
So
midweek or at the weekend.
their weekend
Or-
game is
No, the midweek game is
Orlando.
So that's gonna be tough.
they'll have to. They will not have San Jose to SeaTac. They're going to have Orlando to SeaTac.
This is me not feeling bad.
So yeah, it's really interesting because both New York City teams lost their coach.
Too bad, so sad. So, quick predictions. Adam?
I will be listening to the show on the radio, the game on the radio, because I will be in the Tri-Cities, which there's no way to watch it there. That's my prediction.
I mean, that is a prediction.
Yes. What? Yes, there will be a score at the end of the game, and the Sounders will be on top of that score.
Nice. But that's all you're giving us?
Yes,
Wow.
that's my that's
Good
my
clarity
prediction
question.
for the day. If you have any other questions, you can reach me
At Weigel.
Weigel.
Max, what do you got?
Pain.
Pain.
That's fair. Will you still be experiencing pain on the weekend?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was paying for Vancouver.
Oh, got it. Just checking. I'm looking out for you.
No, I was doing the Mr. T thing from Rocky 3.
Excellent call. I forgot all about that movie.
Except that I think that we'll have a better outcome than Mr. T. I think we're going to win. I'm going to say with the Ruiz Diaz, I don't know if he'll score, but I'll say 2-1 for us.
Remember when Nico joined our
Yes.
team? Like, there were a couple of games, 3 or 4, where nobody knew what to do with him. Nobody knew how to defend against him. That's going to happen.
That's
exactly gonna
that first
happen.
was Orlando, right? Orlando
He
away.
played LA first.
Was it? Oh, is that what that
Yeah,
was?
that was his first game.
So that match, though, he sent through so many balls
Yeah.
that no one could get to.
Right.
And we were joking. We're like, that guy's taking names right now. He's like, yeah, you better run onto that.
They figured it out how to
it
defend
worked
him.
out
but
decently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen with Ruiz
But
Diaz.
I did enjoy Matt Oak on Twitter. Like random things would happen. He's like, Rui Diaz would have scored that one. Just about like random things. Thanks, Max.
Thanks, man.
See you, Max.
I'll say 4-1.
4-1.
And how much of that?
Why do you think the Whitecaps are going to do so well?
Yes. I think Ruiz Diaz gets a brace, and we'll split it up between Nico and Roldan. We'll get the fourth.
Okay.
Not Steph.
Not Steph. Yeah.
Dave loves predictions.
He's
It's his favorite.
Dave actually thinks about it.
I don't do predictions, but Carl Robinson's going to get fired.
I'll accept
So
that.
he's piggybacking on my prediction.
This game.
Game.
What, like, will it be early enough in the day that he can go out and enjoy a nice time?
Yeah, I
in
mean, it's
Seattle?
a 1 o'clock, right?
Yeah,
The 1 p.m. game.
Yeah. He can go to Edda's after the game.
something like that,
Check
right?
out the Space
Cool.
Needle.
Maybe
He'll
be
all
at, like,
right.
knee-high stocking
There you
company, you know.
He'll be hitting something. Yeah.
Temple by 3.
Wow. No.
Be at
No.
Tavern Law, sipping on a whiskey drink and getting
nice
a text that says,
$15, $16 cocktail.
I got bad news for you.
Yeah. And then he will go
They're
directly
not
to
15 to
Canon
$16.
before they turned off his corporate card.
Good call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just...
Carl, if you're out there, we got you.
You can come on the show the next day. Or 2 days later.
Yeah, Carl, there's no reason
Is
to
that,
return
wait,
to
is that
Vancouver.
because
Just
he
come down to
loses,
Renton.
he's going to then lose his visa and he'll have to stay?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I just
You can
think-
be our guest.
He's a saucy guy. Like,
Yeah. I mean, he's Welsh, so... He won't even be the first Welsh guest on the show.
No, he won't.
he'll be rocking a sweater.
We're used to
though.
Welsh.
And
maybe we can use him to lure Jess down more often.
Maybe we can get both
Oh, I
of them
got to
at the
follow
same
up
time.
on that.
I'm going to
I'd not waste Jess that way.
go. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
going to go with 2-0 Sounders.
Okay.
I don't have any specifics.
You don't think anyone's going to get fired?
No Sounders will get fired this week.
No, okay.
If
Red
it's
card?
2-0 bad guys. No, because every time I call red cards recently, it doesn't happen. And it's always Dempsey. So
And
let's not make that prediction.
Yeah.
Keep making that prediction.
Fair. Although it didn't really work out this week. He just didn't play.
Can I give a quick stadium?
Yes,
thingy
stadium
update?
Yeah,
update.
do that.
Yeah.
Are we Austining or are we Miami?
We're Miami today. Wednesday, they are going to vote to see if they will allow the referendum to allow Beckham Stadium to be built or negotiated lease sent to the November ballot. So if they have to get 3 votes out of the 5, 2 of them are definite no's, 2 of them are definite yeses. There's 1 swing vote who refused to support it last week, which is why they sent it over this week to see if they can negotiate. And it's still, I'd say it's 50-50 at this point. After last week, I thought it was like, there's no chance this is happening. But I think they've done enough schmoozing to maybe get it over the line. So I have a feeling it's probably going to pass tomorrow or Wednesday. They're doing a meeting at a council meeting at 10 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock this time. So if you're up before you go to work, you can sit and watch a city council meeting.
Or
So
you can
that'd
treat
be-
it like the World Cup and not watch it because it's too
yeah.
early.
Yeah. I'll be up because I have court in the morning after that. But
Wasn't there an interesting twist that came out today that
Yes.
Moss said, like, if this isn't approved, he's giving up and withdrawing. So it'd be like the third big money guy partnered with Beckham to just quit.
Yeah, there's two things. If this fails, then they'll go back to the Overton site, which is subject to a lawsuit still.
And that
which
Beckham doesn't want.
Yeah, and they don't want to be there. The appeal, maybe it comes out Wednesday. That would be pretty hilarious if it does. So they could lose the appeal, not have Overton, and then not have their new stadium, in which case Miami's going bye-bye. I think they'll win the appeal, actually, so for whatever it's worth. So
the Marlins Stadium has not helped this situation at all. And that's before we even discuss the disaster that is that thing out in center field. But that has not helped this.
No, at every point they are saying, this is not the Marlins deal. We know that's a terrible deal. This is the opposite of the
and that's
Marlins
why we
deal.
promised you
exactly.
a total of $20 million over the 25-year life of the deal, because it's not the Marlins deal, because this is a positive number, even though it's worse than any bond you could buy with the $4 million.
Yeah, and so their own potential owner said today they have to start construction by October 2019 or they lose the team.
Okay.
They are in default. But again, if they lose the vote, then they don't have, there's no way they're going to be able to have it built by there. I don't think there is anything else at this point.
You know what there is?
Overton is what they've got.
There's an NFL stadium the lower bowl will fill in Las Vegas that's fully air conditioned, and it's the only other city that possibly could appeal to David Beckham.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
He's also spent more time begging for the NFL stadium in Las Vegas than he has begging for his own team's stadium in Miami.
Until last week, that was absolutely true. The only thing he
doesn't care about the community. He doesn't spend any time there. That's part of why, like when Claure, the Sprint CEO, was involved.
He still is involved.
He's involved like Drew Carey is involved.
Yes, that's true.
I think his name's attached, and there's a couple
he shows
$1
up
million
and buys
involved.
beers for everyone in the section.
Well, at one point Claure was gonna be like the majority owner, 50%. He was gonna be the money guy. He is a legit billionaire. Like, he owns Sprint Latin America. Like, dude is well off.
Yeah.
But he got so frustrated with the Beckham portion of the leadership that he's like, sure, I'll be involved because I like Miami, but I'm not going to spend any money for you.
Yeah. I think they'll probably win the vote on Wednesday, so it'll probably be a little anticlimactic. But watching it last week was pretty interesting because it was just a tire fire, the whole thing. So anyway, that's Miami. Nashville, apparently, there's some problems there. They voted to not recommend building part of the site, so that is potentially a disaster for MLS.
My favorite Nashville stadium trivia is like Nashville has like 37 people on their city council or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
37. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
They get more stuff done oddly than our 9-person council. So
that's
no comment.
That's a lot.
So that's Nashville has a little kink, and then Austin and Save the Crew. That is they're supposed to file their last brief on the motion to dismiss the whole entire lawsuit, in which point we will hopefully get a decision here soon. I don't know if that's going to happen. It's, from what I'm hearing, they haven't even met with the judge yet, so we'll see what happens.
So
there.
drama.
Interesting Austin-Columbus news is the World Cup final viewing party for Brian McBride.
Was that the U?
Who is basically the most famous Columbus Crew player of all time. His World Cup viewing party was co-hosted with the Austin USL group.
That is trying to
Austin USL 2019.
Start 2019.
Oh. They're not trying. I mean,
they're
they
moving
have a
forward with
plan.
it.
They paid their expansion fee. They have everything they need to have a USL team. Basically, a lot of people in Columbus see this as McBride giving 2 giant middle fingers to Precourt because rather than support Precourt's attempted move or the current crew, he supported the USL team that will, in some ways, be a small blockade to that move. Because there's no way Austin can have 2 professional soccer teams.
It's a question if they can have one.
They can have one lower division team that will eventually move to Orlando and be a great success.
Anyway, that's your legal update. I don't think there's
Good
anything
updates.
else. Yeah. But
Thank you.
the Miami one is what I'm looking forward to on Wednesday because that's going to be an absolute
a busy week
a
in
potential tire
in Mickey
fire.
Turner land.
Yes.
Is what you're saying?
Yes.
Cool. Well, thanks to the crew. Thanks to Max Aquino. Thanks to those of you here
Sign up for Pub League.
at the Berliner. Thanks, Adam.
You're welcome.
You read those tweets so well.
I've got one more that I wanted to read really quick.
Which one?
McDonald's grilled chicken McWrap 250 calories is both $1 and pound bargain. Have I read this one already?
Yes.
You previewed
How many
it
of
when
those
we
old
told
fashions
you-
have you had?
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Adam's doing karaoke, and it's not going to
I
end
am
well.
not doing karaoke.
You will be.